members of the Mahasangha, Reverend Sirs, ladies and gentlemen, sons and daughters, Ayubowan, Vanakkam, Assalamu alaikum, good evening. Together with colleagues of the Sri Lanka Mission in Geneva, I warmly welcome you all to this 65th Independence Day celebrations of Sri Lanka. I see the role of the Sri Lankan community as a catalyst in bringing together the ethnic, religious, cultural and social diversity that we as a people inherit. The bonds that bind us all is our passion for Sri Lanka, whether acquired from birth, through marriage, through travel, cultural or business interaction with the country. Our common wish is that to see Sri Lanka prosper. Your presence here on this important day symbolizes the continuing gratitude you have for Sri Lanka. In my short time here in Geneva, one thing that has struck me is the important role many of you play to bring credit to Sri Lanka and to make those organizations you work for more sensitive to the challenges we in Sri Lanka face. I feel immense pride when heads of international organizations I interact with speak in glowing terms of contributions made by Sri Lankans, both past and present. And when ambassadors of countries whom I meet tell me how enthusiastically some working in their missions press Sri Lanka's case through thick and thin. I want to specially greet the children participating in this event. As a father of similarly aged children myself, I know it is not like you didn't have more exciting things to do on a not so cold Saturday evening, but that you chose to be here makes a point. I hope this event, the multi-religious observances we have just participated in, the commemorating of our forebearers who have had through these immense struggles to ensure Sri Lanka's continued freedom, listening to the thoughts of our present leaders on the way forward, and watching the cultural performances that will follow will provide you a glimpse of the best of Sri Lanka and leave you with a sense of history and something to identify as home. As the statements of His Excellency the President, the Honourable Prime Minister, the Honourable Foreign Minister made clear, Sri Lanka, having overcome years of terrorism and its after effects, has made important strides ensuring economic growth, social advancement and reconciliation for its people. But as we celebrate our independence from both colonialism of the past and from terrorism of more recent origin, let us not forget that there continues to be challenges we face back in Sri Lanka. After a 30-year-long struggle with terrorism, not only do things not settle down overnight, and there remains much to be done in finding consensus on a host of issues within the country, there are also some, particularly living abroad, who, either misguided or with vested interests, continue to seek to distort the image of Sri Lanka. As a result, the Sri Lanka which is projected out here is considerably different from the Sri Lanka that is over there. This is not for a moment for any Sri Lankan or lover of Sri Lanka to be mere spectators. It is time for all those who are genuinely interested in Sri Lanka's future to join in changing Sri Lanka's destiny. It is in such context that I request on this solemn occasion that you reflect as to what more you can actively do to contribute from afar towards this endeavor. While doing so yourself, I humbly ask that you encourage your friends as well to visit Sri Lanka, to invest in Sri Lanka, and to make available expertise even for short periods towards the development of our country. I also urge that both as individuals as well as organizations, that you make even great effort to leverage the policy of your host government, employer countries and organizations in ways that contribute towards Sri Lanka's progress. I also appeal to each and every one of you to, in your own way, contribute towards moderating the negative narratives that are presently propagated against Sri Lanka by clarifying genuine concerns and debunking the falsehoods. I well recognize that there are many differences of opinion amongst us on some of these very issues, as it should be in any democracy. However, I think it is time that Sri Lankans, both in Sri Lanka and abroad, evolve a consensus and desist from seeking to exploit domestic issues as foreign policy issues, which will result in continuing Sri Lanka to be vilified abroad. Let us not forget that great nations that have succeeded in forging ahead against many odds are those that have been able to leave domestic issues at the water's edge. This is why, in my opinion, it is important for us to identify and bracket issues we disagree on as ones where we need to work harder to reconcile our disagreements internally, but at the same time not allow them to adversely affect the image of our country abroad. Such bracketing is something we do constantly in our daily lives, whether in our homes, our offices, and our communities, when we close ranks on issues and fight for a higher purpose. My appeal on this day to all of you is that we do so now in order to protect our country. Once again, Venerable Sirs, Reverend Sirs, ladies and gentlemen, and children, I thank you for your presence today and hope you enjoy this evening. Thank you very much.